I'm going to show how to make homemade bacon. There are many seasoning combinations that can be used. The following combination is my personal favorite. Begin by purchasing a 5-pound skinless pork belly. I bought this one at a local meat market. Start by placing the pork belly in a food-grade bin or a large roasting pan, as seen here. Next, gather the following ingredients in a bowl. 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of hickory powder, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of garlic granules, and finally 1 teaspoon of pink curing salt. Pink curing salt is a mix of table salt and sodium nitrate. It is not the same as Himalayan pink salt. It is used as a preservative for meat. This salt can be toxic to humans if you use too much. This product is called Instacure No. 1 that I purchased from thesausagemaker.com. Once all the seasonings have been gathered, mix well using a wire whisk in this manner. Next, coat the meat with the seasonings. Make sure to cover all the exposed surface areas and to use all of the seasoning mix. Use gloved hands to work the seasonings on all sides, including the ends and the edges of the pork belly. Remember, the proper ratio of the curing salt is important to apply, which is why all the seasonings need to be used. Next, obtain a sealable food-grade bag. I prefer using a vacuum seal bag, but a jumbo-sized Ziploc will work just as well. Now, place a seasoned pork belly into the bag. Then, gather all the residual seasonings that's left behind and add it to the bag. These additional seasonings will naturally disperse during the curing process. Next, remove as much air from the bag as possible and seal it closed. Once you've checked for an adequate seal, place it in the refrigerator. It will remain in the refrigerator for the next 6 days. However, once a day, remove it and massage the bag, dispersing the seasonings. You'll notice that the seasoning has drawn some liquid from the meat. This creates its own marinade that gets evenly dispersed each day. Then, when returning it to the refrigerator, flip it over, alternating each side down each day. On day 7, after a week of curing, remove from the refrigerator and take the pork belly out of the bag. Next, rinse off the seasonings very well with cold water, working the whole surface area with your hands. Once rinsed, place the pork belly with the fat side up on a rack. Allow it to drain and dry by placing it in the refrigerator for 12 hours overnight. The next day, remove from the refrigerator and inspect the meat. The fat side should be dry with a tacky skin that is formed on the surface during the curing process. This tacky skin layer is a layer of protein called the pellicle. The pellicle helps smoke adhere to the meat, which enhances the flavor and the color of the bacon. Next, insert a temperature probe into the thickest part of the pork belly and prepare the smoker. I'm using an electric smoker, which makes temperature control very easy. Begin by preheating the smoker to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. This is my preferred setting. However, you will find that temperature preferences vary per individual. The typical range for hot smoking is 180 degrees Fahrenheit to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, place the pork belly in the smoker on the middle rack with the fat side up. Fill the water pan and then close the door. Load the smoker box with your choice of wood. I'm using hickory chips, but apple wood is also a favorite. Continue smoking until the internal temperature reaches 150 degrees Fahrenheit. This can take about 5 hours. When finished, remove the pork belly from the smoker and allow it to cool. Once cool, wrap it in plastic wrap and return it to the refrigerator for at least 5 to 7 days. This will allow the flavors to develop and for the meat to firm up. This resting period is optional, but I believe it results in a better product. After this resting period, remove it from the fridge and discard the plastic wrap. The bacon can now be sliced into strips. The best technique for slicing is the use of an electric slicer. This will allow a speedier process, and each strip will have a uniform thickness. If you don't have an electric slicer, you can slice it by hand using a knife as seen here. Once sliced, bag and store in the freezer or prepare and serve.